Welcome to Surf Dudes with Attitude, a podcast about California dreams. This is Pete out of Brooklyn, New York. Hello, gentlemen.
How's it going? This is James, also out of Brooklyn, New York.
Mm-hmm.
This is George in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Hello. Does everybody know whose voice is talking? I remember George has scolded us for not doing that in the past, but you haven't done it in a while.
Everyone's behaved. We've all been good children.
Yeah, people are calling in and emailing and sending stuff to our P.O. box if we still have it. They're really upset with us specifically because they know who they're talking to now. Do we still have that P.O. box, George?
No, we do not.
Okay, well.
I mean, to be fair, wouldn't you? I would be angry. So at least they can't send us death threats anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can only send angry emails.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's been a couple weeks since I've seen a California Dreams episode, and I don't think I was prepared for the weight.
It was pretty heavy
of this episode.
It was pretty heavy. I almost thought for a second we were going to get music, but then I realized quickly we weren't.
We sort of did get music all throughout the episode, but it was
When's the last time that we've had an episode with this much depth?
I mean, what was the last? Can we just say it like without? This is a very special episode, I think. When was the last very special episode that we had?
Was it Chris Pine's racist dad?
Well, so we definitely had a parallel here in the first season with episode 9. Guess Who's Coming to Brunch? Maybe it was 7. I forget, but it was around mid first season. Also with Tony, also dealing with racial issues, but there has to have been one prior to. I think James was on an episode that was very special this past season.
I think you're being a racist by calling these racial episodes. I don't think these are racial episodes at all.
You tell that to Mark when he meets Darren, and I want you to tell me that it is not a racial episode, okay? I'm doing a quick cursory
I want to say,
glance.
I want to say there was one this season. I mean, we've tackled some heavier topics on this season so far, but there was another one. I can't remember.
I mean,
the one where Tony has to do the report on slavery.
There it is. That was close, I think. Was it not?
No, not really. Well, I wouldn't say it's close to this one. Similar, maybe because it's Tony centric, dealing with, the whitest version of black issues. But this one's heavy. This one's heavy in
the one
like
with
a
the
real
Yeti
visceral way.
The one with the Yeti was pretty special to me, but that would not make it a very special episode.
I thought the one where Jake's uncle had cancer. I
think that would count as a very special episode because it definitely had to do with smoking and addiction and saying no to drugs.
Yeah,
this one's special to me because I do still love a good Yo Mama joke. And it does have
that unlodged something in my brain. So the last very special episode we had was a whole 2 episodes ago. Is this the new trajectory of California Dreams?
I think this was just the trajectory of 90s television. Like they understood that children were watching this, so they incepted it with propaganda.
Yes. The new race war, the gang affiliates abound. I feel safe with you two here. We're going to tackle these issues together. I've missed you both. I'm really glad to kind of get back to California Dreams. We did an episode recently talking about Perfect Strangers, and that's going to come out. And I'm just excited to get back to sunny California because we get a couple outside shots in this episode.
Sure did.
Don't we?
We sure did. And I mean, it really reinvigorated my love for this show. We're going outside. We're going outside.
I am still wondering if Balky regrets not going along with the music career, though.
I mean, you're going to have to listen along with the rest of our fans. I will say that I've been listening to some old episodes of this, and there was a couple, I had to, some corrections and omissions, if you will, to a couple of these old episodes. One of the last episodes, we saw the actor who played Donkey Lips, and we were wondering, I was like, I think he was in an earlier episode. And he was in the episode. And he only had one line, which is why he's uncredited. So I'm closing that loop. And I listened to James's first performance on this podcast, and I just want to say how little we've all grown with how we feel about this show. So, James, it was a real soothsayer back then talking about.
Yeah, I really
Tiffany.
saw it coming. Sure did.
That's a positive attribute for me, though. I like my host to be rock steady.
Yeah, I don't want them to be changing opinion over time. That's a sign of
I don't want any
weakness,
emotional
obviously.
growth or
Yeah.
forget
maturity in any way. Yeah,
No.
for sure. Definitely not.
Well,
Yeah,
this episode.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
and
Yeah,
I was going to segue out.
I that's what I was trying to do too. I'm trying to push us into this episode because there's just so much we have to discuss.
Well, speaking of change.
Yeah, perfect transition, perfect segue. I think this was just the rage in the 90s. This was before internet. So how are they going to incept ideas in the minds of children? And it's going to be through the TV shows. And we can find similar iconic episodes from bigger shows that tackle similar things, like definitely the racial tension that was existing at that time. This one in particular is, post riots LA. So like they're specifically pointing to very specific things that were real in society. And also, Dare and every kid show had that episode where somebody was like messing with caffeine pills or drinking too much coffee, or like that was just a thing, combined with having, Dare classes in school. I don't know. This is just the rage. The episode where Tony confronts the history of his family being enslaved, I don't know if it's the same. Like, that is obviously an issue, and again, it is the widest interpretation of that issue made for the audience. But I don't know if, like, I would say maybe that conversation about America is being had more now than it was then. Not saying it didn't happen then. I'm just saying this episode, with it being centered around, they name drop, LA, South Central, which is again like very
it's like
specific.
Old white guy looked in a dictionary.
Yeah, absolutely. But the LA riots were like a big thing. That was international news, and it was definitely
you weren't
started
on it,
many conversations in America.
But we were on air basically during the LA riots with California Dreams, and we found out that like we kind of pictured what they were doing. They were definitely like recording an episode of season 1 while the LA riots were going on.
Wow.
And it somehow did not make the final cut of these doofy episodes. So, but this is obviously a situation that not even California Dreams can ignore, and I'm excited to talk about it with very tepidly walking on eggshells here. Okay.
All right, have at it.
All right.
George is like, I'm out. I'm getting out of here. And I don't blame him. Okay, so let's just start. We're talking about season 3, episode 14, Boyz R Us. Pete, do you have any of the metrics of when this episode was made?
I do. This is the tail end of 1994 on December 17th. Boyz is spelled Boyz, as of course we know from Boyz in the Hood. So this is an early indication of like what this episode's going to be about. And unfortunately, because Tony's easily the best actor on here, and we get to see some fucking range from Tony this time, they unfortunately kind of go down the same rabbit hole that they usually go down with him, and a past that we've never known about is now, rears its head in this episode. So we're going to start at Sharky's, because you guys better strap in, because we have 2 very juxtaposed, very different plots that are going to be thrown at you the entire episode. A very heavy A plot and then a very silly B plot.
I really wish they would have just doubled down on the A plot. Like I would have preferred to hear more about that than the B plot. But yeah, the juxtaposition is pretty striking, and I love how it even gets like addressed later in the episode, but we'll get there.
It's
So
almost like they knew. They're like, oh shit, like we're getting heavy here. We have to ramp up the goofiness of this other plot because kids will not be able to digest it. It's like a lot of sugar. It's more than a spoonful, more than a dollop of this sugar to get this medicine to go down.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think this is also maybe like not sure when the Fresh Prince was on, but like
This
the
is
Fresh
definitely
Prince.
this reeks of Fresh Prince, but the difference with the Fresh Prince is like literally the opening line. West Philadelphia, born and raised. Like it's from the jump. This is his backstory. Tony does not have a backstory. All of a sudden, he's from South Central, and he moved up here. Like, sure, maybe he didn't grow up in sunny California with the rest of the gang, the proverbial friend gang, the very white, very safe gang. But to throw this in, you know, in the middle of season 3 is it's a little suspect. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, even if we looked at the timing on that, I wouldn't be surprised if this was like, oh, we saw that great Fresh Prince episode. We need one like
It's
this.
literally,
you know,
this is the
for
Fresh
sure.
Prince episode where somebody's in the hospital. They even talk about the tubes coming out of him and stuff like that. We didn't get to even see the fucking hospital though, you know? And
Dude, I was convinced. I was convinced I was like, damn, they're really pulling out the stops on this one.
We saw a hospital when Sly gets beat up by a motorcycle gang with a pipe.
Man.
We saw a hospital then. And whenever Tiffany was a candy striper, we saw a hospital then. But like, they can't bust it out for JR. What that like? And he's like the catalyst of this episode, and why Tony is like.
We never even see him. Yeah, we never even see him.
It's like the Who Shot JR Part 2.
It's crazy. Anyway, so the gang's at Sharky's, and they're all lamenting about how broke they are, and they don't have any gigs coming up. And how they
say for a month. They don't have a gig for an entire month.
Well, they haven't been practicing at all. So
that's true.
Could you blame them?
Well, Tony's working, and everybody steals his food because they're like, we're so broke, we're so hungry. And so I'm like, Tony's still working. Is this free food? Is this his shift meal that everybody is taking?
It could be.
He also doesn't have a gig. So how much money is Sly making them that they're sustaining themselves on it?
But Tony has a job, and I guess he's the only one confirmed with a consistent job. There's been like, you know, alluding to the fact that maybe other members have jobs, but he has the job.
Well, I got 2 questions here. First, Jake says there's no jobs out there, which is, you know, very reminiscent of our economy. But didn't we see them all get a job within a day's notice?
Yep.
For the career day episode or whatever.
100%. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
So the other question I have is like, if they're saying they're not starting at the beach club till next month. Now I get that California is sunny a lot. Okay. But does this mean that this is like May? Are they talking about a summer break residency that they have at this beach club? I mean, you don't think so?
No, I don't.
This could be any month. Is that what you're telling me?
Because in this universe, time does not pass the same as it passes in our universe.
How many moons do you think are over California Dreams?
At least 3. At least 3, yeah. And it disrupts the space-time continuum or something. I don't know.
What is the tide like there? If like there's 3 moons, is there constant flooding? It's
apparently 75 and sunny 90% of the time, and then for 10% of the shots, it's nighttime. But you know, I just also think it's hilarious too because I feel like this is not the first episode where it's been like focused around them getting a job that isn't playing. It's almost like if they just played the music, it's almost like if they played more music, they would have more jobs, paying music jobs.
I mean, why don't they just play at Sharky's? I mean, it seems that they have to run the fucking mill there.
We'll get in. We'll save it. We're getting ahead of the curve here. There's so much that I have to say about the end of this episode. So the gang is at Sharky's. Okay, right. They're lamenting over the fact that they have no money and that jobs are hard to find.
No more bootstraps to pull up.
Those damn Gen Xers, they just want everything handed to them. You know. So can we really blame the economy? And then Sly comes dingle dangling in, and he says "va va voom boogie boogie boo" or something. There was some ridiculous variation.
He almost said "va voom," like almost said it, but I'm like, why didn't he just say it?
Because
you know why? Because he got a studio note that said, You need to be
You need to
like the
ramp it
biggest
up.
doof
Yeah.
goofball here in this
Yeah.
episode because we're dealing
Yeah.
with some heavy shit.
Yeah, he's absorbing all the shock there. And his job is he just got a new job working for a telegram company. And for those of you that are too young to remember
No,
telegrams,
how did he get this job?
what telegrams were where you'd pay somebody to go sing a song or deliver a note in a hilarious way to one of your friends. It was like a fun pastime that people did. Many people got hurt, so we stopped doing it.
Wait,
And
pause.
and
Like,
one,
what do you mean many people got hurt?
well, we don't need to
People
go
getting
into
shot?
it, but there's a reason that we stopped doing it, and it's not
We
just that we
collectively
have
stopped.
instantaneous high definition video communication capability. So, anyways,
Got
it
it.
was this thing that we used to do. It was big in the '90s. This was like before wacky waving inflatable arm tube man. That's before these things came around, or sign spinners even. So this was like an old way to communicate. That it was just like barely a step below the telephone. And anyways, they are all kind of amazed when Sly tells them that the company will pay them $25 per telegram. And $25 in 1990 was basically a retirement fund.
Well, are they paying for the transportation to get there? And then you're hoping for the tip, right? So it's really like $50 a job.
Maybe if you're on a good day, no one's going to give you 100% tip. Come on, $25 in the '90s. You're not getting that.
Now,
on a $25 job.
Because are they writing these songs later? Because it seems
I think that is what is implied, is like they're going to use.
How did Sly get a job there? He historically is a terrible musician.
Sly would do the thing that any smart business person would do. Is it would be like, oh yeah, I know people who can do that. We can do it. I've got a whole bunch of people that can do it. And look, he's got a band they're all singers. They can go and they can sing these telegrams and la-di-da-di whoop-de-doo. Nobody wants to take it seriously until they hear about the money. And then you see the dollar signs in their eyes and they just bounce up, except for Sly or not Sly, except for Tony, because Tony already has a job.
He's got a job. Gainfully employed, this guy.
He basically owns the this eatery that this multi-purpose space cafeteria restaurant, and we see one of Tony's oldest friends, Darren is his name, right?
Darren comes back out of nowhere. Tony is very familiar with this person.
Now, has he ever been in the show?
He's never been in the show.
Not.
Tony's past has never been brought up. This is the first time that we see his mother in this episode. Like, it's a thing. This is something, they're Jessica Fletchering him, where like all of a sudden he's got this past, he has his friend come back from it, and he's got to get him out of this situation. MacGyver did this constantly as well. Speaking of like shoving social justice into episodes where no child wants to see it. So Darren comes back. We don't really know why he's back, but he begins talking about how they used to be in a band together, and the band was called Boyz R Us.
Boyz R Us.
And they had a third member in the band named JR. We don't know what type of music Boyz R Us did, but we can maybe pontificate and deduce that it was probably hip hop of some sort, because they go into this back and forth diss track, this Yo Mama thing that George brought up earlier, which I was not prepared for. And as a 10-year-old child watching this, I would have been very confused while they were just making fun of each other so harshly.
You wouldn't have understood that then?
I think maybe I would have, because I remembered people saying Yo Mama, but that's it. Without context, this would have been jarring to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, so they're catching up, and they keep mentioning this person, JR. It'd be so nice if JR was here, but glad you're here. That's all that matters. You left South Central. We thought we were never going to hear from you again, but here we are. We're hanging out. A huge info dump. We basically got like a whole new set of lore.
It was a lot
in like 2 minutes.
I watched it twice with subtitles just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Whoa, that's way too much energy. So they are hanging out. Darren has come up to hang out with Tony for, I guess, at least the day, because later we find out he's going to stay at Tony's house. Anyway, so the next scene, we see the gang,
At the loft.
At the loft. All the instruments are there. They could be practicing.
Jake's got fucking guitar on,
but instead,
make any noise with it.
Instead, they're watching. Why is Sam changing outfits?
Okay,
what is
Sam wants
about?
to make a really good impression on Darren. Okay, Sam really wants to look the part as Tony begins to code switch for this entire episode.
Yeah,
and Sam looks lovely for some reason. This is like her whole point in this episode is just a scene to she changes outfits a bunch of times. She looks great. Okay, Darren sees her and he's like, Tony, you always get beautiful women. That's it. That's like the end of it. And then she joins the ridiculous B plot. So I thought there was going to be something there, but there wasn't.
Yeah. So that leads us to the first very cringeworthy and uncomfortable interaction where Mark says,
dude,
of course, there's always at least one. I didn't think you were going to be like this. I thought you were going to be more South Central. And then Darren goes on a righteous rant about the stereotypes of what he should be. That rant was clearly written by a white person and puts Mark in his place. And Mark sheepishly backs down after being so obnoxious with his anticipations.
Sure, but okay. Why ergo does why does Darren keep calling him Opie? What was that?
Because look at him. He's like a fucking Norman Rockwell painting. Look at how he's dressed, dude.
Well, where does Opie come from?
Opie is from the iconic television show with what's his name? Oh God. Hang on.
This is what I didn't understand. I get that when they called Sly Dopey, it rhymed with it, but I was like, where is this coming from?
Opie is and I'll share this. Oh, here, wait, maybe George has it in the chat. What do you got? Andy Griffith. There we go. That's what he's talking about.
Opie. Yeah. Who is Opie in that show?
Opie was Ron Howard. Ron Howard was
the
Opie.
Little kid.
Yes,
Opie. Okay.
Like an icon of 50s Americana.
I didn't get that joke as a child. Yeah. I didn't get it now as an adult. I wasn't alive in the 50s. What the fuck?
That really would have been for any adults that were watching this show with their kid to get that joke. But that's a common thing. When somebody is naive, you can call them Opie. All right, Opie.
I didn't know that. Wow.
You know, go ahead and go back to the bathroom with your comb and part your hair, you nerd. Like that's what that means.
I mean, that's definitely Mark. Like, and I guess
for sure, yeah. This is a great joke.
Mark fell on the sword here, and like really yikesed everybody by that intro. And thankfully, he doesn't really ever pop his head back up in the rest of the episode.
He's done. He's done for the rest of the episode, and that is the right decision. When somebody points to you how ignorant you are, it's important to sit down and maybe listen. So.
It was weird about the scene. Tiffany said again the same thing. It's almost like they didn't cut it out. Like she said the exact same thing that she said in the first scene where she's like, we don't have any gigs until next month. Like it was almost line for line, like the same sentence.
You know, she's clearly repressing a lot of rage.
Well, I want to talk about that because Jake finds out that Darren, musician, also plays bass. And he's like, hey, you play bass. You should jam with us. Right in front of Tiffany.
Oh, yeah. She's clearly repressing a lot of rage.
Have I had that happen to me? Yes, I have. And to this day, I will remember it because it's devastating as a bass player, you know? Okay, so anyway, Darren talks about the real reason he's back in town. And it's because his friend JR.
Their good friend JR, who they've spent minutes talking about already, but we haven't seen at all.
I love this line. Apparently, he got this music scholarship for what they say, SC or something? Southern California.
Yeah.
And so he's supposed to move to Southern California or move to a college there, but now he's hanging out with the wrong crowd. And like, we got to get him out. We got to get him out of it. I was like, oh, if only the music scholarship is now in peril. So like, we need to get on this. I thought it was interesting, and George can kind of like remember this. They asked about Darren staying with Tony, and he's like, can't wait to see your parents again. He's like, well, my dad is out of town coaching football, which is a rare moment of continuity in California Dreams. We met his father in episode 3 called A Beat of His Own Drum. And his dad wants Tony to play drums, and Tony fakes an injury so his dad will love him. It was real dumb. But he's away at a football game. So that's it. We've never seen Tony's mom until this episode.
We finally got a point of continuity in this show. Great. I'm so happy that it was that. So then as this the heaviness seed has been planted and it's starting to grow. It's starting to peek its head out of the soil here. And as if on cue, Sly comes in dressed as a clown and then begins the dumbest possible addition to this story that could exist. The plot where they have to they have to dress up in these ridiculous costumes when they're delivering their telegrams.
As if delivering telegrams wasn't goofy enough. Like you're right, they are further perpetuating this and just making it extra cringy for us. Like, and it almost detracts from like a very real, serious plot that's going on. Like, they should have leaned into it.
Yeah.
Like, if this is a special episode, do you think that they advertised it as such, where they're like, because like Tony gets like real mad in this episode. Do you think they showed that on
I don't think
preview?
they advertised for this show at all. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
Would you? So at the end of that scene, right before we cut to the next scene, Jake, like you were saying, asks Darren to jam later. I was convinced we were going to, at the end of the episode, he was going to do a special guest spot, sit in on the bass,
bring everybody together.
But, well, they do, but not in the same way. Anyway, so the next scene, they're back at Sharky's. It's Mark and Jake, and they're singing to this random guy delivering a telegram, playing this, I guess, song that they wrote.
Which isn't a bad song. It's pretty catchy.
You're just getting desperate. We haven't heard any music, so you're like, you know what? The only music they play, I'm okay. I like it. I like
this is the only one. It's a stupid gimmicky kind of jingle. But when we were talking to J. Anthony Frankie, he talked about the one time that he sang on this show in episode 10 of season 2 called Leather and Loose. But I'm like, why did he talk about this? This is like way better. But that's all. This was his coup de grace, if you will.
I guess, yeah. And that scene is totally pointless because
that was the fastest scene in California Dreams history, I think.
That's all that. I guess it was just to maybe in some way prove to the audience that they're not just pretending that they're doing these telegrams like they are supposedly doing. Anyways, it's dumb. Next, we're at Tony's house. Tony and Darren are sitting on Tony's bed with Tony's mom in the center, and they're looking through old pictures and they're reminiscing of the days back in the neighborhood. And then, Tony's mom, they exchange some jokes and Tony's mom leaves. And then it gets heavier.
It does get heavier. And I just want to interject with some light humor because so our audience doesn't get too heavy. George, I want to just give an update on Tony's room here because this is only the second time that we've seen Tony's room. Okay. So it is not the same room. They have tried their best to make it look like the old room and they did a pretty good job, but I watched them side by side. All right. So there's about 3 feet of wall missing to the left side of Tony's window. All right. There's different posters up. There was a lion poster on the door that has been replaced by the Poetic Justice Janet Jackson poster. There's no stop sign. There's a stop sign in the background that said stop and then spray painted underneath said racism. That's gone. The African flag is in a different part of the room. There's more records. Papazon is in the same spot and the bongo is gone. Now we can move on. I just wanted you to know that I looked at both.
That is a stunning attention to detail that you have there.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, so they call JR because the plan is Darren's going to stay the night and then in the morning they're going to go hang out with JR.
Cool.
And Tony calls JR's house and finds out from JR's mom that those new kids he's been hanging out with, the rough kids, well, they beat him up and put him in the hospital.
Oh my God. A tale as old as time.
Yeah, it really is. We could have seen it coming. So then we cut to Sharky's, and the gang minus Tony are sitting at the table, I guess counting their money. I can't. The B plot was so stupid.
Wait,
Like,
so they're not getting enough money because they haven't fully embraced wearing these stupid costumes and really going all out, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Does
that
it?
makes sense.
Yeah. Well, Tiff does this terrible accent that I'm not sure where it's from, but it goes to show the gang, like, hey, if we really lean into this stupid gimmick, then we're going to get better tips. So that's it. And so I really thought, when are we going to go to the hospital? We need to see this JR.
Dude, how pissed off would you be if somebody sent you a fucking telegram and you were responsible for giving the tip? How fucking pissed off? I'd be like, dude, I didn't ask for this. What do you mean? I mean, I appreciate that you've come out here all the way, but
singing telegrams were real. I think they only exist here in sitcoms and in the movie Clue.
No, they did, but a lot of people got hurt, so we just had to stop doing it.
I think they probably still exist. They're probably very niche.
No, too many people got hurt. Too many people got hurt.
You keep saying
that. Okay, so they're at Sharky's. They're debating whether or not they're going to dress up in these stupid outfits. Spoiler, they do.
Mm-hmm.
But then Tony and Darren walk in, and everyone can kind of tell they're feeling down, and Tony and Darren explain to them the situation, and all of the friends in the most Andy Griffith way possible are like, gee, how can we help?
Yeah.
Can we help?
Very Opie of them. I know that word now.
Very, very Opie.
This Darren, he's only bringing bad news.
Yeah.
He's really messing up the vibe.
This is where Darren kind of snaps and he says, we got this. Like, we don't need your help.
We don't need you, white bread. Oh.
And Tony is basically like, they don't mean anything by it. They're like my family. They just want to help and help us figure it out. And Darren's like, I know where we can figure it out. We can go beat up these guys ourselves.
So, but the whole point is that, so this JR fella, he was new to this gang, and they're like, if you want to fully be in our gang, you got to rob that liquor store. And he's like, I don't want to rob the liquor store. And they're like, well, we're going to beat you up. So you don't tell anybody about this plan that never actually happened.
You don't know that.
That's what Tony said. That's what happened.
If they're a gang and they were plotting a robbery, I mean, they probably did that.
Well, so there's a conspiracy charge that now has to be hushed up. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I mean, it's 90s LA. That kind of shit just got hushed up like no problem.
I forgot you're from South Central.
Maybe there's a cop involved. I've seen Training Day. Okay.
So yeah, this gang war is now in full combat mode.
It's not a. It's
going to be a gang war.
It's not a gang war.
Tony and Darren are the only ones that can stop it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a gang war. They just want to get payback for their friend who got beat up because he wouldn't go along with the gang.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in a stunning lack of continuity, instead of going immediately back to that plot, they go to the B plot where, no joke, two of the characters are dressed in gorilla outfits, singing a telegram to a very terrified 16-year-old. Like the only young-looking kid I've ever seen on this show.
He's got money in his hand, ready to hand it out.
Yeah.
Whoever's at the door, a vacuum cleaner salesman, a Jehovah's Witness, somebody, anybody. But let's not bury the lead here. This is number 4 outside shot in California Dreams history. Okay.
Yeah. Here we are.
A really crappy driveway. Okay. And it is Tiffany and Sam, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going gorilla on this man, and they get a tip. And that is also another short scene of little to no consequence to the rest of this existence.
It didn't even matter. It's almost like they could have not done it. And at the end, that guy smiles. Yes. In the biggest piece of fiction from this entire episode, that guy smiles, pulls out a wad of cash, and then gives them a tip, which never would have happened in real life.
But
so many people got hurt.
What were they singing about, though?
So many people got hurt.
Did you even catch what they were singing about?
No, it was about his girlfriend loved him. She was going ape over him. It's
You got
it's
more
so
than I
stupid.
did.
Yeah,
That's why I keep you around.
unfortunately, I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're back at the practice space. All the gear's there. They could play. They could practice. They could practice right now.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, I can't even remember what they're talking about before Tony
This is
comes
also
in.
a very short scene of no consequence. So,
well, it is because it's Tony, like, weighing the options of like, what do I do? Do I go fight? Do I go back Darren up and fight these guys, or do I avoid any trouble with that? And the gang is, of course, telling him,
James,
"Don't do it, Tony."
What would you do, James, if you were Tony in this scenario?
I mean, if we're talking about going to beat up South Side,
the whole gang,
Crips from South Central LA, I'm gonna pass. I'm not equipped to deal with that. Okay. So my buddy got beat up. The best thing I can do to help my buddy is go visit him in the hospital, because I don't stand a chance against Crips from Southside.
So Tony does float the idea later, like, we should go to the police, and then Darren rightfully says, like, they don't give a shit about us. Defund the police. A cab, not happening. So Tony is wrestling with the angel and the devil in this scene.
Well, and it's like the past and his present, coming into conflict.
It's so nuanced and eloquent in this episode. I'm really glad that you caught it too, because we're just both so in tune with California Dreams.
It gets better. There's so much more, especially once we get to the other. Well, we'll save it.
Well, so anyways, we're going to go to Tony. We're going to Tony's room then, and the very special guest shows up here. I don't know if you saw the little cameo here at 1350. So we're back in Tony's room. I'm looking around for all the posters, and what do I see? I see the fucking boom mic pop in very, very suddenly at 13 minutes and 50 seconds.
Boop, there it is. Wow, incredible.
Almost bonks him in the head.
Incredible.
I love that. But
Darren, so we're in Tony's room. Darren is just slamming weights. He's getting fucking ripped to go fight these gangsters from South Central.
You should have brought the abdominal snowman to really fight this gang. I think that would have been their ace in the hole, if you will.
Yeah, at least that costume would have been fun to see again. So anyways, he's basically explaining to Darren why he doesn't want to do it. And Darren's like, you're backing out on me and you're not my real friend. And this clearly upsets Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. That was that scene where we're once again back at Sharky's, and Tony is on the phone, but I can't remember who he's at first on the phone with.
The reaction shot from Tony when he's told this bad news at Sharky's. Well, okay, so we're at Sharky's. There's a private party tonight, which, just to wrap up this B plot, I guess the club owner that has booked the Dreams in the following month is going to be there, hires singing telegram for his girlfriend there. So, but for some reason, we're at a private party. I don't know why. It makes no sense to the rest of the plot, but Tony is there. He's working because he's the only one with a job that has to.
He owns Sharky's, yeah.
And the whole gang comes in and they all start singing. And I was like, I saw them singing and I was like, are they going to get on stage? Is the private party? Are they actually going to play? There is a guitar there. But then Jake grabs the guitar, and they're all dressed as like British police officers.
Yeah, this is where I thought this was culminating. I thought it was culminating in they'd finally all get fed up and sick of how this wasn't them, and there would just happen to be a full stage of equipment there for them to play. That's what I thought was going to happen here.
Okay, and I thought
dashed.
Hang on, like, let's coalesce these plots together. I thought because they were dressed up as cops, they were going to run outside or something, or they were going to accidentally break up this gang fight that was about to happen. And then these gang members ran away because they're like, oh, the police are here.
They're not dressed up as cops. They're dressed up as bobbies.
I'm just saying.
And it looks like a fucking Benny Hill sketch.
I'm trying my best to add any kind of humor in this show. And it's because it's
pretty
lacking.
hard. It's pretty hard.
I'm sorry.
So anyways, Tony's on the phone trying to get a hold of Darren, and he's leaving another message with Darren's mom. He hopes that nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Then the other gang, the friend gang, comes in to Sharky's. Yeah.
The other gang. Oh, are you talking about our California Dreams gang?
Yeah, the gang, the not
You can't say gang in this episode, James. I'm sorry.
God damn it. Okay, so California Dreams show up in cop outfits,
yes,
and start Benny Hill running around Sharky's.
It is sped up film. You're right,
and that's 100% what they're doing. That's like a trope of Benny Hill.
Again, no child would know that, but
no one, literally not a single child. And so then they played this song for the manager whose it's his birthday, or it's his girlfriend's birthday. That's the private event.
So, okay, he bought out Sharky's, invited a bunch of his friends, gets this dumb singing Telegram group to sing to his girlfriend. They do, and then he's like, hey, we're actually you booked us next month. And then he's like, oh, no, you guys are too goofy. You're canceled.
Canceled, yeah.
They didn't sign a contract or anything, so they're just canceled, which has happened before where they get a gig and they change their whole persona. The first episode you were on where they became the California Nightmares, the same thing happened. The guys were like, well, that was great.
I just have a question here. This club promoter, we never see his girlfriend's face, and this is decidedly a place where children hang out. I wonder how this clearly 10-year older man thought to have a party for his girlfriend at this children's cafeteria, restaurant, cafe.
There's a made
that's connected to a school
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 90s.
It wasn't.
Anyway, so they get the gig canceled and they're all bummed, and then Tony gets another call.
His mom calls him at Sharky's. He must always be there because, again, he owns it. And she tells him this news, and the way he takes it is something, because they're like, JR's awake, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. And he basically just like hangs up on his mom. He's
so enraged by the tragedy that he is now inspired to go get payback against these gang members that beat up and have now
beat up his friend that we've
JR.
never seen. We do not know, and then Sly tries to stop him, or somebody does, and Tony yells at him, back off.
Back off. It sounded like he said fuck off, and honestly, if he did, I wouldn't have been mad.
If you look at the thumbnail for this episode on IMDb, it is literally the screenshot of him yelling back off to Sly in the Bobby outfit.
Wow. Anyways, so then we cut to another outdoor scene.
Outside shot number 5 in an alley.
What the fuck is going on?
It's
an alley.
Parking lot situation.
There's this is clearly like the alley where the gang members.
How does he know where they were?
Well, he knows the neighborhood, and he's got.
So he goes back to South Central?
No, he just makes a couple calls.
This looks like the back of Sharky's. We've never actually seen the parking lot of Sharky's.
It almost certainly is the back of Sharky's. Yeah, for sure. Just with a bunch of new paint on it. We see Darren there pacing rabidly, and then Tony shows up with a bat.
Yes.
And Darren says, well, here's the place where the gang meets. They're right in here. We just got to go beat them up. And Tony's like, well, how should we do this? How do we get them? And Darren's like, it's going to be easy. It's going to be 2 hits. And then he pulls out a gun and intimates shooting.
This man has never held a gun in his life.
Clearly.
By the way.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly. So then we see 2 very stereotypical gang, South Central gang members, clearly ripped off of whatever news headline was big about gangster rap at that point. Or
the casting call for this must have been wild.
Yeah, for sure. Wild's a way to put it. Yeah. So then Darren pulls out the gun, and in the most hilarious way, I have to share my screen for this because it's just so ridiculous. Like some of these, it's like
he doesn't stop holding it that way either.
Like this, that. Now, okay, even anytime you're on a movie set or a show set and you have a gun,
Mhm.
you never point the gun at anyone, even if you know it's not loaded, even if you know it's fake. It's just a safety precaution. Anytime you see that in film, it's typically done with angling the camera the right way to make it look like it's pointed at the person, but it's rarely pointed at them.
Yeah.
Because there's obvious safety concerns with dealing with any firearm. Okay. How he's holding that.
Since you're an expert
is-
marksman, yeah, can you tell us why he's holding it completely
I
sideways?
don't know why he's holding it. That's not sideways. That's just angled
That's
up
at a
to the
45 degree
sky.
angle. He goes
Yeah.
full 90-degree angle at one
There's
point.
no way you're hitting anyone on the surface of the earth with that. That's killing a bird. Okay. And then he inches closer and then does this stereotypical thing with the gun sideways. And he's shaking and he's terrified, and clearly this. It's like almost the appropriate posture at that time, which was like this triangle. They call it the triangle stance. And
Terrible
like,
trigger discipline on this man, though.
yeah, it's well, I mean, he's ready to get his payback.
I also love this
but he's
graffiti in the
paralyzed.
background that just says 4574. Accurate.
No, that's the address. That's for sure the address of the building.
Okay.
That's not graffiti. That's the address. So these gang members who also don't have guns, or
They seem
I
really
I
put
don't
off
know.
by a gun in the equation. They're like, hey, we
Yeah,
didn't sign up for this.
You know, they seem like the type of gang members that might not necessarily be afraid of charging someone who pulled a gun on them. Their reaction to here isn't necessarily commensurate with them beating somebody to paralyzation, paralyzing somebody with a beating. But anyways, then Tony does this weird like Christ thing where he stands in between them like this for way too long.
Yes.
And finally appeals to Darren's better senses to not ruin his life. And then out of nowhere, literally the entire town shows up and says, it's our responsibility to fix this community, even though like 90% of the people who are in this group don't live in South Central LA.
Okay, I don't know if you have to listen to it again, but like there was a big exposition dump about how they all got there. Like for some reason they felt it was necessary to tell us like, well, your mom called me and then I called them. Like this just looks like this happened in the back of Sharky's and they just all came back. Like how do they get all these people there? Like the entire gang shows up and they're still in their cop outfits.
Yeah, I mean this would require like 5 minivans minimum.
This is the most amount of people we've ever seen on one set in California.
It's pretty ridiculous.
I'm not kidding.
it's-
Like even more than all the concerts, this is at least like 30 people in this shot.
Oh, for
and
sure,
it's bonkers that like
now. Yeah.
it's just bonkers.
Yeah, it is. I would agree. It came out of nowhere and it was very unsettling. Where did all of these people come from? But here's my question.
Yeah.
Do you think this is Darren and Tony hugging? Do you think at this moment the two gangsters are now talking with everyone and they're like getting them to change their like? Do you think these guys walked away
Definitely
from this not
rethought
being
some of
gang
their life
members
choices
anymore?
Yeah,
Really?
definitely rethought some of their life choices.
Yeah,
In this
wow.
moment. I was thinking that too because they were like, you would think at this point they'd be like, "This is lame. We're out of here," kind of thing, and like, but they're actually listening to the other side's arguments at this point. So, we see the parents of JR, right? That's the mother and father are there, and Tony's mom shows up. But Tony's dad still away at this football game. Can't come back for this.
No. Well, I mean, come on. His dad didn't know he was going to be ending gang violence in South Central LA.
They did solve all of racism. We haven't seen
really
it
did.
since the late December 1994.
Basically, yeah, it's crazy what an impact this had on society.
Well, you know what they say, James. You got to increase the peace. And that was
Is that what they say? Do they say that?
That's one of the last lines in the episode.
Mm.
We just got to
okay.
increase the peace.
I was completely checked out by that point, so it's not a shocker that I missed that. Wrapping up our summary of this episode, who wins the awards? Are there awards? There's no fucking music.
You know what?
Does music come back? Pete, if music doesn't come back, this is going to be a problem. Like, I'd much rather us be doing this about Severance.
The word is healing, James. I don't know what to tell you.
Is it?
I will say that Jake will probably get my Tony Award this week because he actually sang and played at the same time. Okay, so I hate to give that away.
And that really legitimately did seem like that was his playing. It was like
was.
the simplest cowboy chords, but yes, he was playing that.
I didn't hate it. Who do I want to be in a band with? I think. Oh, I mean, classic drummer being in multiple bands. I wanted to mention that. I don't think I want to be in a band with JR anymore. This guy makes bad decisions. So
wow.
George, what did you think of this episode? Since we forced you to watch it.
Your mama.
Okay, there it is.
I loved it. It reminded me of growing up in Hershey in the 90s.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah,
big
very,
gang
very similar.
problem in Hershey for sure. This was a rough one to kind of get through, but I found myself laughing like very unintentionally at a lot of parts because it just kept ramping up. The silliness kept ramping up, and then by the time everybody kind of poured into the parking lot, but I don't remember this episode. I don't remember it at all. So like this was like watching it for the first time for me, and I was like the whole town comes out and they're like, we can't be afraid of these people anymore. We're just like waiting off screen for our moment to come out.
It just screams to me like somebody in the writer's room watched a better show do a good version.
Maybe Boys in the Hood. Maybe that's what they want.
They're like, we need one of those episodes quick. The episode airs tomorrow.
It felt very unnatural. Like it was
for this show. Definitely,
it was really somber and out of character for what California Dreams normally is.
I mean, you could easily set up a band-centric episode with this. JR or like Tony's old bandmates come back or something. They want him to join their band again or so. Like that's a plot. That's literally a plot we haven't dealt with before, and it actually would have like some interesting talking points about like other groups of friends.
It would be relevant
the same way.
It would be relevant to the entirety of the show. Yeah, this season is like clearer than anything. They're trying to rework it to be, a match with any of the other popular shows that were like this out of the time.
Sure.
Like this is the season where they're really.
Season.
Yeah, but the first two, they were desperate. They were really trying to figure things out. This season, I feel like they were like unified at the beginning. Like, oh, we're gonna try and pivot this to a.
Sure, but if you told me we were gonna see a gun this season, I would have been like, no, fuck all way in hell. Like, oh, you mean that episode where Jake works at the flower shop? Like, no, like that. There's a gun. There's a full-fledged gun.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like an unexpected level of self-awareness. I don't know. There's just nothing, like very little of. I don't think this show should be talking about sensitive subjects because they do it like this. This is a show where it has to be goofy. This is a show where things have to be lighthearted because when they try and do shit like this, they miss the mark so bad that it's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I was convinced Darren was going to jam with them. I was convinced at the end.
What show are you on?
They were going to have some like weird experience with the Telegram thing, and like maybe that broke the tension between them and the gang members, or I just thought music was going to occur in this episode.
Well, music was going to help solve things because.
Well, sure. That would be more relevant to the spirit of this show. Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought
that's where this was going.
The only band elements we're really getting in are these flippant lines of like,
we haven't had any shows.
We don't have a gig till next month.
No one's booking us.
And like the them now we don't even get next month's gigs because of a silly throwaway gag that gets the band canceled.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. Like
it seems like they should just focus on rehearsing and playing music.
They all live basically in the same loft. So
it seems like they should just rehearse and play the music instead of coming up with all these kooky schemes.
Maybe they get more gigs if they played more.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna look forward to next week. Hopefully, next week's episode is gonna be a lot better. Do you want to guess what it's about, James?
Let's hear the title.
Okay.
It's called Junior Achievements.
It's going to have something to do with a junior in the high school, junior achievements.
Are they not juniors?
Time is irrelevant in that reality.
Okay. I mean, that's as good of a guess as you could
I
possibly give.
I hope there isn't a baby scare in this one, because that would also be hilariously out of touch. But I'm going to say
baby
that
is paralyzed
Junior-
from the neck down. Actually, I'm
and
sorry.
has cancer from smoking cigarettes. Yeah,
That's right. There you go.
But I'm going to guess it's going to have something to do with the junior year in high school.
While at a movie theater, Jake and Lorena get into a fight over junior mints.
God damn it.
He's fooling you. That's
God
not
damn it.
For an economics project, the gang decides to sell Sam's great-great-grandmother's cold remedy. Overwhelming with greed, Sam must decide between money and honor. Jake and Mark decide to create their own business as music teachers.
Oh no! Did you hear me when I was like, "Oh no"? Like,
So
what
you're
is-
stuck in the scheming, not playing music bullshit.
What is the junior? What does that have anything to do with any of that?
We don't know, and we won't know for another week. But I will say, I got a pit in my stomach when George was reading that, because I remember seeing an interview with Kelly Packard, and they're like, "What was your favorite thing to film?" And she was like, "There was this one episode where where Sly was dressed up as a germ, and we just had the funnest time because he kept running around as this germ outfit." And I'm like, this is this episode. There's no way that it's not, because there's a cold remedy, right?
One day we're gonna get Michael Cade on this show, and we're gonna make him defend that decision.
You know, I'm just thinking about this now, and like, there's so many aspects of this show that if you watched it a little differently, it would just be Twin Peaks. I don't know why I'm just coming to that realization.
Tiffany's
now,
Killer
but
Bob, because she's schizophrenic.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. There are just so many Twin Peaks elements. It's got more mystery than X-Files.
I think
Like,
Mark has the variety of a log, basically.
And you leave Dana Catherine Scully's name out of your mouth.
This was okay, so I don't know where to go with that.
I don't know. Sorry.
All right, so that's next week. That we have a lot to look forward to, I guess. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this was rough. Next week looking to be rough. Like, we only have like 3 more episodes before the end of the season. They better fucking pull it together.
There's only 18 in this, yeah, and we need to get through them.
Yeah,
because I'm betting season 4 is going to be where this show really hits its stride.
You're like that petulant sports fan that's like, this year's our year.
Yeah.
This is the season.
Season 5 is going to be killer.
They're definitely not going to choke when they're at the end zone. No way.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at Surf Dudes with Attitude. If you have any questions or comments, surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com. Please check us out, surfdudeswithattitude.com. Thank you for supporting the show. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back. Thank you for increasing the peace with me this week. I really appreciate it. It's something that needed to be addressed, and we addressed it, and then we could just shut the door on that issue, because
season 6
did it.
Primo.
Anyway, until next time, we'll see you next week for what's junior achievements. That sounds great. Until next week, drive carefully, everybody.
Thanks.
This has been a Waning Moon production.